Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Roundtable Show, coming to you live from the WWDBTV studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, where we are warming up and we don't have any snow to think about. That is right. I'm Aaron Phillips, Rick Upchurch to my right, the mouth, George Miklos on the far end, JPEG on the board, and more importantly, you out there watching us. 702-992-3207. If you saw the promo post of what we got going on to tonight, then you already know what we're going to talk about. I don't have to repeat it. Unless you're new, then you'll hear what we're going to do. If you're watching us on Facebook, thank you so very much. YouTube as well. We appreciate it. Of course, in about a week's time, you'll be able to catch us up on Roku on our show page on the WWDBTV channel on Roku. And not only do you have a chance to see our show, but you'll have many choices. Many? That sucks. You'll have a plethora of many choice. I'm going to stick with plethora. I'm tired of changing it. A plethora of shows to watch of all the shows that are here. We appreciate you following us as always. 702-992-3207. And you can see we are in our football frame of mind this week together. This is our team.
I love these colors. They just look so good.
Don't they?
Black and blue. Like you got beat up.
Exactly.
Oh
Black
my
and blue.
gosh,
Black
John.
and blue, baby.
Why are you always thinking violence over there, man?
And wonders why I didn't buy him a shirt.
Yeah, I know that's right.
The fuck you think they teach us in the Marine Corps?
That's right.
Be nice guys.
Well, guys, it's been a week since we were here already. We had some great divisional games last week. We'll get to some of that. We'll give you our prognostications about the championship games this weekend in a little bit. So with that, more importantly, what's going on with you since we were last here, Mr. George?
Well, I just wanted to talk about the Friday night after our show where we got to go to the Super Bowl Las Vegas ambassadors, volunteers for the Super Bowl, and that was a lot of fun.
That was.
I thought it was pretty cool. We got all those photos of us at the event at the Thomas and Mack Center.
I know I have them up on our
Cool.
pages. I think you put them up.
I did, and
Donna may put them up.
thanks
for you,
to Rick and Donna for inviting us. It was pretty cool, man. It was
great.
awesome.
Yeah, well, once again, that's what it's all about, man. We try and get ourselves out there in the community at the main events that's going on, and have the opportunity to be around, and help the folks when they come here to Las Vegas. We'll be able to show them around where to go, what to do, where to party, all of those type of things. And that's what we should do. Make sure that these folks, man, are welcome here and they have a great time.
And just so you guys know, I mean, I know we all have our own little piece of the Super Bowl doing something. I'm actually working with the NFL for the NFC Champions practice field.
Ooh.
It will go unmentioned where the location is, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot
Parts
of fun.
unknown, as they say in the wrestling world.
Right? Yeah, but it's cool how they've laid out this turf for the NFC Champions to practice in, and they'll be here about a week before, and it's cool. I'll be out there the whole time, and it's pretty awesome to be part of this Super Bowl experience in any way.
Yeah, a lot of coaches carousel going on out there.
Ooh, baby.
You got Jim Harbaugh going to
San
Diego. You got we go down to Atlanta. You have who's that's going to Atlanta?
Well, they didn't.
They haven't specified.
There's been a wrench thrown.
You're talking about Belichick, right?
Yeah, there's a kink thrown in there somehow.
Who's the kink? Who's the kink?
They didn't say. They said that he had a second visit planned.
The kink?
And somehow now it's kind of right. They kind of everything's kind of slowed down with him right now. I think they were actually going after Harbaugh also.
Sure. Well, everybody should.
And somehow right now Belichick and Atlanta have kind of been. It's kind of cooled a little. Doesn't mean it won't happen. It just.
What I find surprising, 8 teams were looking for coaches, and how do you not even give a look to the winningest, most head football coach of whatever? People consider him the greatest coach of all time with the number of Super Bowl wins. I guess you'd have no argument there. But how did not more teams have interest?
He's 15 games shy, 15 wins to tie Don Shula.
One or two seasons.
Yeah, we have 2 probably. But yeah, I would like to, he's still young enough. I think he still has the desire.
Except he doesn't want to be in a rebuild.
Of course
That's the only thing. That I think is one thing.
Well, Atlanta's a team that has a good young team. I like their quarterback. And
who's their quarterback down there?
It's only his second year. I forgot his last name.
That's all right.
But he's a good kid. He did okay this past season.
Yeah, he did.
So
Yeah, he did fine.
The only team that had an established quarterback that would have probably been the right fit for him would have been San Diego
right.
or LA, the Chargers, because you had Herbert out there. Can't think. I mean, I can't think of any other. I hate to say it about your Raiders.
Well, Rick, he might know that there's rumors now. Russell Wilson.
I saw that.
I'm not sure.
in the news.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But as much as everybody may like, was it Aiden Collins? Is that his name?
It was Aiden O'Connell. I mean,
Hey,
he's
Aiden
a
O'Connell.
rookie. Come on.
Yeah, no. I'm not taking anything away from him on that. But if there's somebody better that's out there, and you have him as a backup for a season or two,
I'm not opposed to that.
Right. So I mean, I don't know. What's the realistic expectations for the Raiders for next year with everything configured as is with your quarterback? They just signed a couple of defensive gurus.
And they got the GM. Well, no, I have Marvin Lewis and Tom Coughlin that he's going to have on his staff.
Right.
That's
Tom Coughlin?
Yes. Brilliant.
From the Giants?
Yes.
Away from the Jaguars?
Yes.
On the staff.
Brilliant as a consultant,
As a
advisor.
consultant. Okay.
I think Marvin Lewis is going to be an assistant head coach. So
Right.
I think he's
Tom
actually
Coughlin's not going to be on the field.
no. Well, I
doubt
think he'll be by the phone anytime AP wants him.
Okay. Well, to me, that's not
Okay,
active, but
right. No, but I think that's a good thing for AP to have that kind of.
yeah.
I'd
be busy looking over my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then you have the Carolina Panthers.
Mhm.
They just hired Dave Callis as their coach over there. I
Okay.
don't know much about
Where
him.
did he come? Where did he
I
come from?
don't. He was with the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
And so they got him and they brought him over and hired him because once again, come from that Shanahan, coaching
lineage,
tree
Yep.
and that old deal. So
The Commanders hired somebody.
Tennessee Titans just hired. Also, isn't he, or is Brian Shanahan? Isn't he the guy not Shanahan? Maybe it is Shanahan. The Bengals offensive coordinator just got hired out and is, I believe, the new coach of the Titans.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
Callahan, Brian
Okay.
Callahan.
Brian Callahan,
That's who
okay.
it is, not Shanahan. Brian
Okay.
Callahan. I'm pretty sure. I know he was hired. I want to say the Tennessee Titans, but you have Mike Vrabel still out there.
yeah,
Why?
wow, he's a great coach.
Woo!
Too. I like him.
I still can't believe
he's
Tennessee-
a hard-nosed,
Yeah.
tough guy in that whole deal. But what you have to have leadership
Right.
that's going to back you up as a coach to make sure that you're secure and you feel good and you feel that management has your back. And if they don't feel that way, most coaches are going to leave. Because if they don't have your back,
Right.
you're just sitting there, man. You're almost like a fart in the wind, man.
Right.
You're gonna give just a minute and then
Right.
it's gone.
And that was some of the issues that I think people were talking about in Philadelphia with Sirianni, that he may have lost the locker room, even though they brought him back.
But he's still the coach, right?
Oh,
They
he's
haven't
still the
let- they
coach,
haven't
but
let
they're
it go.
making a lot of coaching changes. But there was a lot of talk going through the tail end of that season, finishing basically 1-6, including the playoff loss, that he lost the locker room.
Right.
Sure. And you know what? Losing the locker room. If people are wondering what does that mean, I've been in that locker room. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about lose the locker room, when I got drafted to the Denver Broncos, we had John Ralston, right? Great guy. He understood, man, how to recruit and go out and get kids, man, to fit into the system there in Denver. Put together a great group of guys, right? But when it came down to X's and O's, it wasn't there. When it came down to really getting us up, man, to meet the Oakland Raiders and
Right.
the Kansas City Chiefs, it wasn't there. That's why we were losing all the time. But
Right.
then when Red Miller came in,
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Red
made a
Miller
big
was that
change.
hot sauce that we put in the soup.
Right.
And he came in, man, with a stiff anyway. And he says, this is the way it's going to be
Stiff
done.
what? Stiff what?
This is how it's going to be.
This is how it's going to be, a stiff
Got it.
stick.
Got it.
And he said, hey, man, this is the way it's going to be.
Right.
It's not going to be any other way. The way I say it's going to be. If not, if you can't get in line, then you can go somewhere else and do what you have to do.
Absolutely.
And that's why that first year with him, we were able to go to the
Right.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
So, it's there's still a couple of jobs open. Now, you said the Washington Commanders may have
Commanders?
just hired
Yeah,
somebody?
they did. Somebody got hired there. Who was it? It was like a defensive coordinator or from Detroit, I believe it was.
They
But they
couldn't have
can't-
hired anybody out of Detroit
Well-
with them still in the playoffs.
Well, I think it's different now because they were going, wait, this is a
Well, they
playoff
can't even
team. How
interview.
can
They can't even interview people when their team's still
I know
in
the
playoffs.
Commanders did something. I was shocked because it was a playoff team. That
I don't
they had
understand
been-
why Eric Bieniemy doesn't get a shot as a head coach. He's your assistant. He's your offensive
I think.
coordinator.
Well, you know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
I think Andy Reid. They're talking about Andy Reid retiring or leaving in a year or two, and he's just.
So why didn't he stay at the Chiefs then? He's got the same position with the Commanders. It was a lateral move.
Right.
It's not like he was promoted to head coach
And
in
I don't
Washington.
understand that either. The lateral move, unless there was more money involved, because
Yeah, but if someone
it's
says
a
to you,
different
"Look,
system, maybe.
Andy's retiring in a year or two, okay, and you are going to be penciled in and groomed for the position,
Yeah.
100%."
You should stay at the
Right?
top.
Why would you leave and
Yeah.
come back? That makes no sense to me.
And a lot of times I'm wondering, what are they looking for?
Mhm.
What are teams looking for their team, the culture
Right.
that they want for that football team?
Mhm.
What do you think they're thinking?
I
Do
would
they
think-
want a Jimmy Johnson? Do they want, Chuck Knowles or somebody like that to come in who takes control,
Mhm.
and they say my way or the highway?
Mhm.
But remember, I think that's the way it was with the coach with Oakland. What was his name? The coach that was here for Oakland, that just left, that just got fired.
McDaniels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but Josh
McDaniels.
McDaniels.
McDaniels, the kids didn't like him in the locker room.
Right.
They didn't like how he talked to them.
Well, because he came from the Belichick tree, which is my way or the highway.
Yeah, and he's dry.
Right.
No
Yeah,
excitement.
no.
No personality whatsoever. And we as players, man, we're sitting there saying, I don't want to be like a dry saltine
Right.
cracker, man. I mean, dude, you are just dry. There's no enthusiasm. When I step out on the field, there's no I want to. So you can't have coaches.
And that's
like
why the
that.
locker room loved Antonio Pierce.
Antonio
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Atlanta Falcons set to hire Raheem Morris as the head coach, despite interviewing Bill Belichick twice.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, Raheem. Okay.
No, I think that's good. That's good.
So to answer that question, hearing a lot of this being talked about on ESPN throughout the day, it sounds to me like a lot of these staffs are looking for the head coach that's relatable to the younger kids in the locker room
Right.
today.
Today.
Okay. That's, I think, the biggest thing. Is Bill Belichick able to relate to today's football players? I'm not
No,
sure.
You're talking 25 years later.
Yeah,
a different type
he's
of-
70 something years old, 71, whatever he is. Even John's older than Bill Belichick. But, I think relatability is the big thing. That's why I think Harbaugh's a great get for any team that would have gotten him, because
Well,
he's so relatable.
won everywhere he's gone,
Right,
too,
exactly.
and he doesn't put up with any bull.
Well, neither does Belichick.
But
The
I
guy's got
will-
6 Super
you know
Bowl
what I
rings.
don't-
But it's how you address the guys.
Yes. No, absolutely.
But the potatoes in the soup, right? Some soup don't have potatoes.
He always
right?
compares
No,
everything
it
to
doesn't.
food.
I'm getting hungry.
Food.
I mean, yeah,
but
me
I'm just,
too.
Everything is food.
but I'm just
No,
saying,
absolutely.
it doesn't have potatoes in that whole deal. Bill Belichick is the total package,
Right.
and he commands what? Respect from the players. And
Yeah.
a lot of the players, man, are saying to themselves, "Do I want to play for Bill Belichick and he's won 7 or 6, championships, or do I want a young kid coming in that's enthusiastic and hasn't won anything?" So you have to
It's a
sit down as a
double-edged
player and
sword,
say to
yeah.
yourself, "Wow, I want to play for Bill Belichick because he's a proven product."
Right.
The one thing with Belichick that I'm wondering about, we know in New England, he was also the GM.
Right.
Okay. I'm not too sure that any other team that I can think of would want him to do both, because we've seen since Tom Brady left, he couldn't do it.
Right.
We see how important a quarterback is. Not that Tom Brady is every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean, he was special, is special as a quarterback. They're talking about, Patrick Mahomes maybe being the best ever or whatever.
No,
Sorry, but
You need
Tom
4
Brady,
more rings first.
yeah, exactly. Before he's
Yeah.
even get into the conversation.
Right.
But I think part of that is Belichick. Even Belichick's name came up in Dallas if they were going to get rid of
That's right.
what's his face
McCarthy,
right down there.
But they kept him.
Could
yeah.
you imagine the two of them?
Yeah.
Belichick and what's his face?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy
Jared
Johnson.
Jones. It
Are
would be
you
the same
kidding?
as Jimmy Johnson.
Are
and
you
his-
kidding
they would
me?
Eventually,
Yeah.
they would be butting
So
heads.
I'm wondering if part of the issue with Belichick is he may want to have control of personnel, and no team wants to give him that right now.
You know
Yeah,
what?
that could be very true.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can
In
think of.
football, the one saying that I'm not very fond of is the game has passed him by. What does that really mean? The definition of
No, the
the
game
game
don't
has-
pass you
it
by.
doesn't.
You
You're
know why?
right.
Because
That's why I don't
as
like the
smart
thing.
as he is, and as intelligent as he is, and as much as he's seen over the years, you're going to tell me that Bill Belichick can't adapt to the game today, and then bring in some younger coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators to help weave those guys into
Right.
his system? I don't think so.
what do
I
you
don't
th-
think
so.
so.
What do you think was his failure since Tom Brady left? They thought they had something in Mac Jones the first year. He looked great. What's happened to Jones?
It's
over the last
called
couple of years?
talent.
Okay.
You have to have talent. And remember, the New England Patriots, they were way down,
They
man,
were.
as far as the drafting was concerned.
Because
So
of
they
all the
were-
winning. that
because
they
of
did.
all the winning
Right.
that they were doing.
Right.
So they weren't up here getting some of the top-notch
20
ball
years.
players in that whole deal.
Mhm.
And then also, once again, I think it's also your assistant coaches. You have to have assistant coaches that you can rely on. And that's what Antonio Pierce said. He says, we're all going to be on the same page, talking the same language. We'll be yoked together so that we're all walking the same walk. And if you're not walking the same walk with your coaches, how can you walk the same walk with your players?
Right.
Now,
Absolutely.
here's a quick
Final
the-
thought before we go to break.
The Raiders did not retain the GM that they promoted with Antonio Pierce. They went out and got the former San Diego Charger GM.
Right.
Do you think a coach is, first of all, I think a GM is more office management than
Right.
a coach is out on the field with the players.
Right.
You think that's going to make a difference with this new GM, the relationship with Antonio
I would think
Pierce?
it should be. Don't you think the
It-
GM and the head coach should be on the same page in terms of building a team? Of what they
Absolutely.
want?
Absolutely.
think so.
Hey, look, Aaron, this is what I need.
Mhm.
I need inside linebackers and I need defensive backs.
Right.
These are the guys that I think we should look at.
Mhm.
Can you make that happen
Right.
for me? So
Yeah.
when you work together,
Yeah.
man, you can make some good food, man.
And that's why a lot of back with the food.
Food, I
That's
know.
why.
Hey, man, I like to eat now.
And that's why a lot of times what they say is that if you're going to fire a head coach who was hired under a different GM and that GM is on the hot seat, that how can you expect the GM to work with the new coach when
Right.
they weren't brought in together? You know, that
That's
whole
right.
thing. But some people make it work, other teams don't. With that, we're going to step aside for our first break. We're going to get to some conversations, including everything from Alaska Airlines jets having a problem. 10 million kids across the country may have no summer benefits.
Poop and Dunkin'
Exploding
Donuts.
toilets in Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, boy.
And if that's not enough for you, 3 people froze in a friend's backyard after the Chiefs game. and
I
of course,
know. What the
America
heck?
speaks. We got a lot to
That's
do.
weird.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Carl Mecklenburg inviting you to watch my favorite talk show, The Roundtable, with my good friend Rick Upchurch, Aaron Phillips, and George Miklos. Catch the show every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific on the WWDBTV network.
Are you looking for someone to provide training to your staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
Good enough to stay outside.
And they-
Hi, welcome back.
We're talking, we're running our mouth with
Well-
the voice and the mouth. I'm quiet. See, I'm the
Hey.
quiet guy.
Jokers to the left of me, jokers to the right of me. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Go ahead, John.
Hold it.
Yes.
We have the voice running the mouth.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Is that what it is?
Hey man, how much are we paying for that?
Not a whole lot.
Not a
Thank
whole
God.
lot.
Thank God we're not paying for a whole lot of that shit.
So much so I don't even have a wallet so much so we
Right.
don't get-
Good
He gets
job,
paid in
John.
donuts on
That's
Saturdays.
almost like putting together a puzzle right there.
Right.
You know?
Wait a minute. What does it say when you only have 3 pieces to put together for a puzzle? We're not very educated then. We can't do that. All right. So you guys may have heard us on the last couple of seconds coming in. We were talking about one of the stories that I touched on going into the break. So let's talk about it.
Might as well.
So after a Chiefs game,
The Chiefs-
was it this past week
The
or the
Chiefs
week
and
before?
the Chargers.
All right, so
a
it
couple
was
of weeks ago.
in
Before-
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy had some friends over,
Had a nice house.
nice house, and 3 of his friends were dead in the backyard, frozen to death. How does this happen?
Well, according to the story,
All right.
here's how it was going. They had a party. There was 5 guys there,
Okay.
partying, drinking.
Good name for a hamburger joint.
Right, 5. Funny. But somehow they
Back
were
to food.
they were
Go
right.
ahead.
Here was the food thing, but they were drinking and all.
We
that.
need a food sponsor,
Doing
folks.
right. We need a food truck right now. But yeah, they were.
I know this Italian restaurant.
Do they have a food truck? No. But
Lot
this,
J Tacos. What about them? Man?
right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they were all hanging out at this guy's house, and he was a scientist, well respected. You know, they weren't just guys just messing. These guys were all experts in their field having a weekend watching the game.
Rocket science.
And right, basically, yeah, one of them was a scientist, definitely. And so whatever. But 3 guys died. They were all in their late 30s. They were found frozen to death 2 days after the game. Now they're saying the owner of the house said he passed out for 2 days, slept off.
The owner
of the house slept it off 2 days of partying or whatever they did. That tells me if he was up that slept for 2 days, they did more than just smoke pot or drink beer. But there was a 5th guy there that wasn't at the house. He was just visiting, and he left. He told the cops that they were all watching Jeopardy that night of the game at midnight. After that, when he left the house, they were all alive.
Since when is Jeopardy on at midnight?
Well, nowadays, you know, we can record stuff
No,
and
that's
stream
true.
shit,
That's
so
true.
that's possible.
So here's some of my questions.
Sounds fishy to me.
So
Totally.
let me ask this question: what do they think they were Captain America frozen on ice over there? A, where were their spouses or some sort of significant other wondering where the hell they were after the next morning, let alone 2 days later?
Well, one of the girlfriends or the wives, after not, it must have been a girlfriend, hadn't heard from her boyfriend in a couple of days.
Right.
So they tried to call the cell phones. Nobody was answering.
Yeah, right.
So she went over to the house to find out.
Sure.
And that's when they found the bodies. And the one guy, the owner of the house, sleeping in his bed, supposedly for 2 days.
But even with
And
that,
he didn't
though,
even know. He didn't
if
know.
the
he
guy
said.
made it to how
That's what he said.
if you at the party ends, right? I'm a host and I invite you guys over.
You know, people are going to be gone from your house.
Well,
you stay up and say, hey, goodbye,
Right,
Joe.
exactly.
See you
I'm gonna
later,
say
Joe.
thanks for coming, hugs and kisses,
Good
smooch,
night,
smooch,
say
and
hi
then
to
I
the
know
wife.
everybody's out of the house. Then how do you not know? We only had 4 guests, 1 left. How do you not keep track of
No,
3
no.
people?
Here's the thing about it.
I'm so-
Honestly and truthfully, normally you're not going to sleep for 2 days unless
Yeah.
you've been part. I'm talking about like
Right.
it's 1999.
Right.
I'm telling you now what I know. So, hey man, you was getting it in. You was getting down. They was partying and getting it in, y'all. I'm telling you.
Sure.
And so for him to go up and sleep for 2 days, we don't know what his boys were doing. They probably even had some glasses and went outside and they were drinking drinking some Jack Daniels or whatever it was. And remember, that's like antifreeze to us when we do that. We do it. Look,
You don't
we,
feel the
we
cold.
it's called drink of courage, right? That's what I
Right.
call it.
Right.
Because when you go to a bar, you want to fight. When it's snowing outside and it's freezing, you go outside and jump in it, right? And so I believe when he went to sleep, he left the house to these guys and said, these are my buddies. They're okay. They'll leave when they need to in that
Right.
whole deal. They're responsible men. Responsible men do stupid stuff. They probably went outside, sat down,
Start drinking.
started drinking, passed out, and they never woke up.
I want to.
That's just my opinion.
That's not a bad.
Found it. Where they found sitting in chairs.
Well,
with,
the wife said they were
Yeah.
they were out on the front porch, sitting out on the back porch.
Right.
So that's not. I didn't even think about what Rick just said. That's a very, very possible. But it's just still.
And
sounds
what was it?
weird.
What was the temperature?
Minus 16.
It
they
was
said.
minus 16.
Yet Kelsey's brother this past weekend had his shirt off at the Kansas City Chiefs game up in the box.
for a few minutes. You know,
but
an
he
hour.
climbed out of the box. I don't know if you guys saw the video.
Yeah, I did.
To greet
And he's
young
all-
fans. Right?
Buffalo
Some
Bills
younger,
fans.
and he's out there. He's having a good. Listen.
They said he drank
Kelsey-
40 beers.
Kelsey, both Kelseys are tremendous athletes. I'll
Yes.
get I don't need to see Kelsey without a shirt on for any reason.
It was.
But-
it was
but-
hilarious.
I'd rather see what's her name without a shirt.
But
Taylor
again,
Swift without
but
a
again,
shirt?
you know what
You heard
this
it
is
live.
all about.
I
Look,
know.
they're doing commercials
Sure.
like 90 going north.
Right.
The more exposure that we can get,
Sure.
the more money we can make. So
Yep.
we
No, of
know what
course.
this is all about.
Of course. All right. So, with games coming up this weekend and then the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen, please take a head count before you go to bed. Make sure
Right.
nobody's left
Yeah.
around.
There's more. There's going to be more to this story coming. I'm sure.
I'm sure
we
there will
haven't
be.
heard
All
the
right,
last of it.
Let's move on to the crazy, to the disgusting. A Dunkin' Donuts situation exploded on the scene lately, not too long ago, and I don't know when this happened, but a Dunkin' Donuts customer walked in, and apparently there was an exploding toilet that dropped feces all over him, and he sued Dunkin' Donuts for only, in my opinion,
Yeah.
only
Just discussing that with Rick.
$50,000. Now,
100 grand.
I
please.
thought maybe some of the feces would have landed on a donut, a whole new flavor
Well,
or
what
something.
kind of donuts are they making? for
Shitty
the-
donuts, if you ask me.
He had number 1 and number 2 on him, number 3 and 4, whatever those might be.
How many you want of each, sir?
Can you imagine the embarrassment of an exploding toilet?
No,
I was
I
telling
can't.
Rick, hey, to call your wife on the cell phone, honey, I'm in the bathroom. Can you just go to the counter and get the donuts?
Yeah.
But you know
How
what,
do you
guys?
call out of work for that
Oh
one?
my
Sometimes
God.
when you go into these restaurants, right? You say to yourself, did you guys ever bring Roto-Rooter in here, man, to try and clean your pipes out? I mean, it is funky in there,
Oh,
man. I'm like, oh my
It's
gosh.
amazing what a can of Febreze could do. For a
What,
bathroom, right?
absolutely. And you know what a lot of folks do? They take the paper towels instead
Right,
of the
and they put
toilet
them in,
paper
yeah.
and they put it in there.
Right. It
Right.
doesn't
And they get
dissolve.
all back, and it doesn't dissolve, and it gets backed up. Then what you get is what? Methane gas.
Right.
And that methane gas build up, man, all you got to do is light a match, dude.
Well, it blew half a hole through that whole building. And,
Or either he just farted and
just
sparked it
exploded.
or whatever.
Did the article say when it happened? Like how long ago?
yeah, it was in Winter Park, Florida in 2022.
Oh, and it's
So
only coming out
couple-
now?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Oh, fuck him. Who
You
gives
told
a
me to
Who
look
gives
for
a
weird
shit? No, I know.
stories.
I
Who gives
know.
a shit?
Yeah, I know, like that.
But yeah,
No, I know.
but they knew but they're saying
Sure.
is that the restaurant knew. They didn't put a note saying it's out of order. They didn't get it
Wow.
fixed. So yeah, can you imagine the embarrassment? Oh my God! And the cleanup. I'd be thrown up as
Well, you know what? You know what I
meaning to raise raining men.
You know what some of the guys did one time, man? There was some rookies, man, that went into an outhouse, not into an outhouse, but one of the houses outside. And the guys go over and they tip it over them.
Oh, that.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, you guys, what the frick are you doing? Rookies came out
like
of there.
out in the field
There
or
was
something?
toilet paper all over them and
Oh,
other
the
stuff.
initiation.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
initiation
shit
for the
everywhere.
for the fresh
Oh
for the
my God.
rookies. It was bad,
And
dude.
then they took their clothes probably too, and they couldn't change.
Oh, when they
They
came
go,
into the meeting room, oh my gosh! I mean, we were like,
Oh, they were waiting for that. They were waiting
Oh
for
my-
that shit.
They were waiting
yes.
for that.
So it happens, guys. It
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
does.
Well, but that's a joke. This was an exploding
Dunkin'
toilet.
Donuts. I
This
mean,
wasn't even like Alan Fund coming back saying you're on candid camera.
what
No,
kind
this
of
was
donuts
legit.
are they
blow.
feeding?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I want to know what's in those Dunkin' Donuts.
Can you imagine?
moving
Well,
forward.
If
it's
it
the
was in
me-
the morning, you had to call in for work. Hey,
Yeah, right.
boss, I'm not coming in. I got shit all over me. You know, the boss. Oh,
I got
hey,
shit
just
on.
Clean yourself. No, but he did.
That's right.
Well, it's the methane buildup. That's what
Oh
it
my
was.
God! All right, enough of that crappy topic. Let's
Yeah,
move
oh,
on, shall
really?
we?
Oh, we
Let's
saw
wipe
food.
away.
We're
Heck
talking
with
about
that
food.
crap.
I know,
right?
Right,
Food
everything's
and
food.
crap the whole show.
Well, we're gonna get. Well, all right. I might as well continue with the food topic. But here's
Oh,
a
yeah.
serious note. This
Yes.
is one that you shared with us.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, due to something in a federal law
Yeah,
or something or other, states have the ability to opt out of providing meals for students over the summer. We're talking 10 million
Million.
students possibly being affected. What other details
They
do you have
said
on that?
35 states.
That's all right. They're just gonna get shot anyway.
Right.
Oh my God.
There's like
Oh wow.
there's like
Shit.
15 states that
Violence.
opted out.
How many?
15.
Okay.
So I don't understand why I didn't go into the deep detail of the article, but they're saying that the states had opted out. They were allowing 120 bucks per child per family. So if you had 3 kids, you'd get 360 bucks for the kids. But they're not. They opted out. The states. I
So
don't
did it say
understand.
why? I mean, what kind of program was it that they would even? Go ahead, John.
Go ahead.
It was a federal program.
Yes, that.
That
Yeah.
it wasn't going to cost the state anything.
Right.
The
Usually
feds were
doesn't.
giving them the money.
Right.
I mean
That's
It's
yeah. I
free
get it.
money.
I get
that's,
it.
That's just cruelty on purpose.
Yep.
And I wonder what color those fucking states are.
Oh boy.
Oh God. I
Hello.
don't. I'm sure
The
they're
views
mixed-
and opinions expressed on this show
Well,
are those of the station owner only.
Hey guys.
I'm going to find out.
Hey,
Go-
look it up.
Google it.
Hey,
That's what-
hey, guys.
So my wife says Google it.
When you look at what we have as far as a deficit, as far as the United States is concerned,
Right.
we're talking about $34 trillion, right? And so they're saying anywhere we can trim this thing down, we're going to do it. So parents, what you have to do is take responsibility now and make sure that your child, man, has a meal. And they're going to put it on the onus of the families, the moms and dads, to make sure that their children are taken care of now. And that's what a lot of those folks on Capitol Hill believe. Because remember, a lot of those folks on Capitol Hill, their children haven't missed a meal, not one.
Right.
So they don't feel it like, other families do down in the neighborhoods and
Right.
down in the urban areas and that whole deal. And so how can you sit there and say, well, I'm going to help this child out. Look at me. Look at me. Look at my child. My child eats every day. Your child can eat every day.
Oh, he found the
Sounds
answer.
like John discovered
Hey,
something.
you know that's what they say.
No,
now.
absolutely.
I'm
All right, let's
telling
over
you.
to our special correspondent here on Capitol Hill.
JPEG on
Mr.
live
J-
on location.
That's right. He's on
All
Cap.
right,
He's
here
on
we
Capitol
go.
Hill. This is our.
This is the list.
Well, let's see. What's the form of the where'd you go to
An
find?
estimated 8 million youngsters would be affected across Mississippi, Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Vermont,
Jesus.
and Wyoming.
So the majority,
So
The
what is it?
majority is red, right?
That's
Is
what
it-
he's-
is
that's
it
what he's
red?
doing.
All of them.
the Southeast states.
So those are the Republicans' part. That's what the Republican parties feel, though. They feel that once again that America is giving away too much to
Yeah,
to the downtrodden.
I agree with that, but you know what though? Let's be really honest about that though. There are probably more unnecessary programs that some fat can be trimmed than taking food out of the mouths of our students.
I agree.
I
I
mean,
agree
right.
with that.
If they really wanted to look hard, like their salaries,
Right.
there has to be there.
But-
I know there are other programs that they could be cutting the fat and saving that and feeding 8 million kids.
But once again, they're saying that
You mean like tax
we can
cuts for millionaires?
if we can get these parents back out and working hard, right? That means that we don't have to take those federal funds because again, our deficit is $34 trillion. And they're trying to find every way they possibly can, just like with the student debt loans, right? They don't want the student debt loans because that's the way they take that money and they help pay down the deficit of the United States of America.
I get that,
Whoa,
but I
whoa,
want
whoa,
to
whoa.
talk. I
Whoa,
want to
whoa,
talk. hang
there's a
on.
horse. You riding
I
a
have a
horse?
comment about the families, guys.
He's riding a
Student
horse.
loans
Yes?
don't go to the feds. It goes to the lenders.
Not if you have a federally backed loan.
I understand that.
Okay.
And those are the ones that these kids have been screwed so big. They have paid already more than the original amount.
I
Right.
agree
And
with
they
that.
still
I did.
owe more than the original amount.
Right?
However,
However,
my wife, who had to take out grants to get her master's in administration,
Mhm.
not a kid. Well, no, she's always a kid to me. Hi, honey.
Mwah, mwah.
She, because of her position, her career, if you're an educator or some other form of state employee, your request kind of got a little higher priority.
Okay.
And I'm pleased to say, for my household, whatever we had $60,000, whatever it was excused and written off.
Okay.
Because everybody knows teacher salaries are not what, I mean, when we took that loan on, she was a classroom teacher. And even as an administrator, she's still well underpaid as to what she should get. But I want to comment on the families, but go ahead. No.
But remember, these are young kids. It's just like,
Right.
man, with the IRS.
Yep.
If you're young and you owe them money and you're behind, they're going to compound that
Oh
every
yeah, you'll
day.
never get out of debt.
Right, that whole deal. So you're going to continue to be in the government's in the government's pocket,
Right.
and that's the same way it is with the student loans.
I want to just make a comment about what you said about the families working and all of that. Using the experience at the school where I work at, they're single families.
Mhm.
The single parent is working 2 to 3 jobs as it is just to try to pay their bills and keep food on the table
That's right.
to the best of their ability,
That's right.
as well as daycare, clothes,
Yep.
necessities, things like that.
Mhm.
I'm okay with families who need the support
Mhm.
to get the federal support.
Mhm.
So I don't know what documentation is provided and needed to be given the opportunity to get federal meals, basically is what we're talking about. But right across the street from my school is a church, and they do a food giveaway once a month. There's cars lined up around the block
Okay.
for food. So I understand what you're saying about accountability. It goes back to accountability of the household. They never, when I was a kid, you in school, we never really thought about that kind of stuff. You had to pay to buy a lunch. I still remember those little red tokens I used
We
to
had
give
a
us.
card.
Right? You had a
and 30
card.
and they would punch the ticket
Right.
daily.
But
Right.
because the funding for schools is so bad over the last 30, 40 years, whatever number you want to put on it, that's where funding for meals has come in, right?
Right.
We're in agreement with that.
Right.
So to me, it goes back to, yeah, I agree with the accountability to an extent, but why is our federal government even giving the states options? And it's not them. The option is there. The states, those 15 states, regardless of red, blue, black, purple, green, I don't really give a shit, that they're willing to take 8 million kids, take food out of their hands when I'm sure each and every one of those states that John rattled off could have cut other funding elsewhere
Right.
to maintain bringing those federal funds in to feed those kids. That's not the
Right.
federal government's fault.
But-
That's those 15 states.
But they called some businesses, some high businesses, man, some folks, some CEOs in, right? And they sat them down to talk to them about taxes, right?
Mhm.
And why corporations needed to be taxed. And they said, and in that package, they says we use some of these monies that come from you guys to make sure that these food programs are taken care of, right?
Mhm.
And so this is what you guys are doing. You're doing a great gesture, and the taxes are being here, and this is what it is, what it's for. I saw the CEO. He stood up and he said, see these graphs right here? These graphs right here shows you that we're a capitalistic society, and we're capitalist. And if you think we care anything about those kids, you're sadly mistaken. That's what he said. That came out of his mouth, and I was sitting there, and I said, Donna, did you just hear? We ran it back, and I said, did you hear just what corporate world just said?
That guy should have been taken out back and flogged.
Right.
D. Jones, by the way, in the chat room says, looking good, Mr. Upchurch.
Hey, what's happening, D? What's up, son? What's going on, biggin?
You know, we could probably do a whole hour continuing to talk about that, and it's worth talking about. The thing is that the parents in those states, in my opinion, they should be the ones not voting for those people back in office because they're screwing their children. That's, I mean, to me, if you're wronging and taking food off the table, capitalistic society, red, blue, black, whatever it is,
right?
If those states are not willing to support the children in their own state, who, by the way, will be the people voting in that state down the line,
that's right.
They're stupid as all get out. All right, let's move on. One more thing for all you flyers. Hopefully no one's flying Alaskan Airlines anytime soon.
Yeah.
Would you like to share that story, sir?
Boy, Alaskan Airlines, man. And everybody, I believe everyone saw the big door, man, just blew off the Alaskan Airlines.
Freaked me out.
I think they were, what, at about 10,000?
They could be
10,000 feet.
15,000, I
They
think.
could be 10 feet off the ground. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, the blessing is that no one was sitting in that aisle. But one of the young kids, one of the babies that was sitting in his mom's arms, it took the shirt right off of him.
Oh my God!
Took his shirt off. Man. Yeah, ripped his shirt off and that old deal. So my question is, are airplanes safe overall? I know Boeing right now. Really, you didn't inspect those doors before you shipped them, man, to United?
How new were the doors? I mean, how new were the doors?
These planes were 737 Boeing.
How-
they weren't
how
that
old were
old.
they? How were
They
they?
weren't that old at all because they
years.
just come
Aren't
off,
they supposed?
off the line.
Aren't planes supposed to have relatively regular maintenance on them?
They're
anyway?
supposed to have regular
Okay.
maintenance in that old deal, and that's why they had these CEOs on Congress. They went up and they were talking there, and they says this is embarrassing. The gentleman from the CEO from Alaska Air, he was like, "This is unbelievable. This is Boeing's fault."
Mhm.
You have to do an audit. You have to do quality control when you do this thing and make sure that those doors are bolted together. 4 bolts were gone. 4 bolts were gone off of that airplane. And then yesterday, or a couple of days ago, you had one of the planes where the front wheel came off of the plane.
I saw that one.
And the plane is dragging around on that whole deal. So, gang, are we safe in the airs now? Are the planes safe? Where's the accountability for the safety of the planes?
I'm so glad I'm flying to the east on March 18th on United Airlines as we're talking about this right now.
I used to
And so-
enjoy flying.
Yeah. And so now they're worried about $150
breeze.
million that they're going to miss. And tomorrow they're supposed to put these planes right back into the air.
Well, if they have all the bolts and everything's back and everything checks quality wise, I mean,
And these mechanics, these air mechanics, they get like $50 an hour. So I mean,
that's all.
I don't know how often these mechanics have to.
That's why I
with the
was
inspection.
wondering what
every flight or every 1,000
Well, I'm sure
hours.
I got to imagine it's
by
based on
hours.
hours.
Yes.
It's based on hours.
But I would think that there's got to be some tracking record when a plane comes off the line, how many hours. There's got to be, look, my dashboard
right.
lights up when my air is below this much pressure. There's got to be an indicator somewhere when a plane needs to be inspected, even if there's nothing wrong with it. Just for, I mean, we take our cars in for an oil change every 3,000 miles,
right.
whether we need it or not.
That's
to me,
right.
there's got to be a better way to do that.
It had to be neglect. It's pure
Somebody.
pure neglect.
Somebody's
Nobody
supposed to
knows
join.
anything much about it.
Ralphie, did you get that last bolt?
And here's the other one. I don't know if you guys did, but I got wet. I got wet last week. Was it last week or this week?
I didn't. What do you mean?
I got wet. I mean, I'm talking about raining.
I'm sorry.
We finally got some rain.
Oh, yes, we did.
But
last
the
week.
rain that went through here,
Yeah.
boy, it went through the mid plains down south.
Yeah.
Oh, they got hammered. Did you see the rain?
I did.
San Diego.
Well, I was going to say, if you that rain that was out on the West Coast during the Chargers, the Niners game and all that, that's what we got the tail end of.
Right.
John, your hand is raised.
The average, this is average throughout the country, the average salary for an airline mechanic is $47,000 to $58,000 a year.
Wow.
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 That's less than
Hello?
$50 an hour.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. No doubt. But all the rain now, and you know why? We're in an El Nino.
Wait,
I-
how
I-
much does the CEO of an airline make?
$10 million
Yeah, well,
a year.
anyway.
10
Probably
million.
55
How many yachts?
to $60.
How
an
many
hour.
yachts does he have?
Yeah.
But the rain that
Yeah.
we've been getting, not only just here,
Right.
but I'm saying around the world, and you know why? Because remember, all of that weather is coming up out of the Gulf or off the Pacific.
Mhm.
These waters are absolutely hot.
Right.
They're steaming. And so then you have the cold
The
air
cold
what
front.
that's coming down and meeting it.
And
And
boom.
boy, I'm talking about, man. And remember, with all of the heat that we have, that means evaporation. That
More
evaporation goes into the clouds.
Yep.
And then when
And
it comes
boom.
down, bro,
Yep.
it's coming down.
Well, I saw some pictures. There were parts of our valley that saw snow, and I'm not talking Mount Charleston.
Yeah.
I'm talking like in Henderson or something, because I didn't see anywhere I live. We just got deluged with a ton of that rain
Right,
earlier in
right,
the week.
right,
But
right.
look, we get what, barely 4.5 inches of rain per year.
Mhm.
And I think we may have gotten half of it the other day, it seemed like, when we got it here.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful with mudslides and everything else.
Yes.
Here, when it rains here, people don't know how to drive in it. You've got to treat it like black ice when you're back
Right.
in a winter state, because all the oil from the heat and
Just
everything
sits
comes
on
up from the
top,
pavement. It gets wet. People want to peel out of traffic lights. They fishtail and they have no idea how to control their car. Hence accidents. So I'd rather drive in snow because I could see the snow. I may be doing that soon. Driving in snow
You will be.
than this, our roads because of the oil.
Why does it have to be black ice? Why can't it be white ice?
Oh,
Why
jeez.
everything bad is black?
Oh, my
Daggone it,
God.
man. Hey, I'm just saying.
I have an answer for that.
Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
here we go. He has an answer.
Everybody knows that black ice is cooler than white ice.
And that's why it's more dangerous.
Well, when they change the color of the tar, then we can change the phrase.
Right.
I
I
guess.
mean, I'm just saying, you got, once again, when you have snow on the ground, right? And then all of a sudden you slide in that ordeal, they don't call it white ice. They just say, hey, man, there was snow on the
Well, no,
ground.
there's different. It gets compounded
Oh,
inside out.
Right. Compound
Well,
like
Hey, when
interest.
it rains in this town, the oil,
Oil,
the asphalt,
yeah.
seeps
Right.
up to the top.
Yeah, it stays on the
That's why
top.
I don't stop at red lights when it rains.
Just go right.
You just go right
Yeah.
through. That's
Hey,
So
fine.
man.
what? Wait a minute.
So get scared.
What part of society then can have a concern about yellow rain, yellow snow?
Well, that means God is peeing on us. That's what he's doing.
That's what Frank Zappa used to say. That's what Frank
That's
said.
in Alabama, Mississippi, South Dakota.
Oh, here we go. Where they
That's
cut
what
the
I would-
food
that's
off
what I
for the
was thinking.
kids.
All right, before we go to break, I have a piece of news that was provided by Donna Upchurch. Thank you, Donna, for sharing this. Nevada Hand, which is the state's largest nonprofit developer, builder, and manager of affordable housing, they will have affordable housing for kids that will be aging out of foster care. And that's very important because when
It
they,
is.
was it 17 or 18, when they graduate high school, they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Right.
It's supposed to be somewhere on the east side of town, on the other side of 95 off Charleston. It was on the news recently. So that's, you know what? That's a good thing. That's a
It really
great thing
is.
that we're able to do something for those kids that don't have a home,
Safety net.
but we can give them something to get them started after they come out of foster care. for sure.
Absolutely.
So, all right. With that, we're going to step aside for a final break because it's up on the other side of the break.
That's right.
America Speaks, and
America
God knows our
speaks.
picks for the NFL weekend. If you've been betting on our picks, you may want some of that affordable housing in the future. Anyway,
That's why I don't have a
we'll be
wallet.
right back. You're watching the Roundtable, I think. I don't know. I do too many shows. I don't know where that
I don't have a wall.
Most business owners struggle with the following issue. How do I brand my business to get noticed? Double 8 Design Studio helps businesses by designing brands that boost confidence, look and feel timeless, stand out from the competition, and attract all the right clients. Whether you are in need of a new brand, upgraded design elements, or completely redesign your current brand, Double 8 Design Studio has fully customized packages for your business. Call Chelsea McKendrick at 702-525-3334 and visit www.double8designstudio.com. Let Double 8 Design Studio give you a brand new outlook for your business. America Speaks.
That voice sounds familiar. Hello, everybody, and welcome to America
You
Speaks.
just sound like Mr.
This
Rogers'
is-
neighborhood. What the hell is that?
Hey, hello, guys. How are you?
Jeez
Welcome to
Louise.
America Speaks. This is where you, America, get to voice your opinion. And this has been this particular story has been in the news off and on for a couple of years now. I guess Alec Baldwin, the actor, has been charged again with involuntary manslaughter.
That same situation.
The same situation. No, they're shooting. He shot somebody
Well,
else.
I don't know.
No,
with
the
these
same
people.
Yeah, the same situation in October 2021 when he shot the lady on set, the camera lady, and the director. He's going to be again. This is more of a civil. I don't know if he's going to go to. They say he can get 18 months if he gets convicted, which
Doesn't
is
sound like a lot.
no, it isn't.
for
But
shooting
again,
somebody.
it wasn't murder. He didn't do it on purpose. He was
Right.
negligent.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Yes, that's what it is.
Not only that, but he didn't mean to do it.
Right, right. Well, here's
But
some.
shouldn't it be-
Go ahead, say it. I want to know. I want to say it. Alec Baldwin. I'm not a fan of his anyway, so say it.
Involuntary woman slaughter.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I told you I only
The opinions of this show don't mean
Right.
shit. Okay,
the opinion is expressed.
right. Well, these are the conversations. Right. Well, here's some of your comments, America, on this particular situation. I know Alec Baldwin's not a very popular actor with the fans. He's pretty much a dickhead in real life. But here's some of the comments. Syrinx 242. Does this mean the Directors Guild and the International Cinematographers Guild are going to be paying for the prosecution?
Is that in their new contract?
Well, I will
The
tell you.
prosecution or the defense?
Either one.
Right. Well, SAG is saying that it's not the responsibility of the actors when they have a gun in their hand. And then this next guy says SAG's own firearm policies do make safety the responsibility of actors and producers. Technically, it's the if they have an arms expert on set or the prop master. Yes, it's mainly their job, but it is also if you get a gun handed to you, we've discussed this before as an actor, you're supposed to check it to make sure.
Yeah.
And these were live rounds, for Christ's sake. They said they were using that gun for target practice during break. So I'm thinking, how the hell that person whoever had the live rounds should be in trouble. And
They're not allowed on set.
they're not. So I don't know how the hell that this they actually got there on set. But here's some more. Baldwin might have been too high to even know he was pulling the trigger, according to CB 1882. How about another guy, NC Guy 156? Again, that was already, as a cop, I would want to know, did the armorer check the weapon and when? Who did she hand it to prior to the firing? And did that person check it before they handed it to Baldwin? And did Baldwin check it? It should have been checked 3, 4, 5 times, whoever touches the weapon. That is where I would have started immediately. Every person who handled it while setting up for the shoot should have checked it when receiving and when handing it off. I agree. How's Joe Navy, Texas? 418 says he can't be charged. He didn't pull the trigger. And why did that field hand get in front of a loaded gun? Another MAGA Hatter plot. Okay. That Finkelstein shit kid. If someone handed me a firearm, expert or not, and told me it wasn't loaded, and I pointed it at someone and shot them to death, I would expect to be charged with manslaughter. Just because he was on a movie set and the person who handed him the gun was an expert shouldn't make any difference. So what do you guys think so far of some of these comments? What are your opinions, pro or con, or some of these?
John's got an answer for you.
Oh, John.
No.
Before his
Okay,
comments,
the
John
last-
does not talk for all of us. Let's-
The last comment about whoever handed him the gun was the expert. As a matter of fact, she was not. Her father
Correct.
had been in the business for years. She was a newbie. So, she wasn't really an expert. She's supposed to be,
Right.
but at least, yeah, you're right. Everybody that handles that weapon has to check it.
But
I would. You handed me a weapon.
Oh, yeah.
It's unloaded. I wouldn't believe you.
I don't want to be the one that ends someone's life or one that gets shot over some negligence.
then weren't they out in the back, doing some target shooting?
Yeah, during the
with
break
gun?
time.
So you would think that at that particular time, after they got finished shooting, they would look at the revolver to look in it and see if there was any bullets. That's just common sense.
I would want to know who brought the live bullets on set, like John mentioned. You're not supposed to have them.
Right. But what I'm saying is, being proactive, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure, because you've been shooting live rounds, man. You've been out there shooting live rounds, so you got to make sure that there's no more live rounds in it. Who didn't check the gun that's supposed to do it?
So
Right.
if they're out there doing target practice with live rounds, right? They're doing it while everybody's on a break.
Right.
So
Exactly.
there had to be a shitload of people that knew that they were out there
Right?
firing live rounds.
Well, they said
And
they.
nobody stepped up and said, hey, You guys aren't supposed to have that shit here.
Right. Well, it wasn't monitored very well. It was a cheap
No.
running set. Here's a guy, RN68, 1 hour ago, just recently. He pulled the trigger, and he was also a big investor in the movie. He definitely holds responsibility. Hope he loses everything. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So, we got a lot of people here that are pretty
Wide
much on
range.
the same page. Well, except one. Yeah, there's a wide range of some people. Hopefully he gets bent over a lot in jail. Troll 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 4,
Drop the
5.
soap.
They don't
Right.
like the guy, right?
No, his reputation's not very good.
I was going to say, I don't think he's well liked in the communities,
Right.
not just the entertainment.
Holy cannoli. If you pick up a gun, you are responsible. He also aimed it at her. Hollywood does nothing but bash guns, and yet they have guns in almost every movie they make. What a joke.
Yeah, well, our
That's what we
society.
like.
But the thing, our society likes guns.
Right.
That's why we have so many out there. When you have about 5 or 6 to a home, in each home, I mean, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Here's one. Mojave 2000. The hubris of SAG-AFTRA is astounding. They won't even offer up a boilerplate statement such as, we will review our procedures such as this will never happen again. What's wrong with an actor checking a weapon before they use it as an additional layer of safety?
That's right.
Yep.
I agree.
There
Check
were
the
multiple
gun.
steps there were multiple steps in making sure this was a safe environment, and obviously it failed somewhere, and that this
Everybody on the set.
if
dropped
that
the ball.
Drop the
right
ball.
if this
Right.
gal was new to the position, she had to have been trained at some point,
Yep.
and somebody felt she was qualified
Well, you
to
think
do the
she
job,
grew up,
right?
like John said, her father was in the business 20, 30 years. You would
Yeah.
think being around her father, she would have learned a few things, just even if by being
Wait,
around it.
Do you have any kids?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Thank God. No, why do you think I look so good for 80?
Yeah.
They
All
didn't
right.
learn anything from their parents.
They didn't learn
from
nothing.
everybody else.
That's
Right.
right. Where'd you learn how to speak? Oh, on TV.
Right.
Okay, before we move on, hey, don't forget to check our new website, www.theroundtablelv.com. You know what? Not only can you see all that's going on, all of our show reviews, pictures are going to be uploaded, but there's also a merchandise tab on there where you can get some of the greatest shirts with our show's logo on it, perhaps the new America Speaks logo. And you get everything from shirts, hats, koozies, bibs, T-shirts, socks, maybe underwear.
I just came up with an
I
idea.
have no idea.
Koozies or cozies?
I thought they were koozies where you put your
Cozies.
beer in.
I thought it was a chicken, or I mean, a cheeseburger. Cozy's cheeseburgers.
I
heard-
heard,
Well, hey, you know what else
but
would
it's
be
those
great?
styrofoam things to keep your
I
drink
want a
cold.
round table coffee cup with my number on it, number 83.
I'll
That's what
see what I can
we
have
should
Matt
do.
do.
Coffee
I saw my
cups,
coach,
too.
my one of my coaches from junior college. Hey, Coach Ron, thank you for coming on, big dog.
Hey,
All right.
Coach.
Thank you for,
Thank you,
thank
Coach.
you for watching.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, right there.
Is
right.
that him, Ron
Yeah,
Oswald?
yeah.
That's him? All
Hey,
right.
Coach, what's going on, man?
Hey, Coach,
All
thanks
right.
for joining us.
He's out in Iowa, Ottumwa, Iowa.
Oh, the home of Radar O'Reilly
Yeah,
from Nash.
yeah, that's right.
That's right. All right. Before we get into talking about the NFL, we were talking about Bill Belichick and maybe why he wasn't hired. This just came off the
Cross
press
the
after
wire.
the hiring. Graziano, who of course is part of ESPN shows and whatnot, he was interviewed. He says multiple sources have said for weeks that Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons,
Right.
went into this process wanting Belichick, and I think the league and the industry expected that to work out. But there were hurdles that couldn't be cleared. The organizational structure in Atlanta involves Blank and CEO Rich McKay, and a lot of the discussions with Belichick centered on the idea of what McKay's role would be if Belichick came to coach the team,
They don't get
and
along.
how much power and control the various parties would have. Belichick, as you indicated earlier, 15 wins shy of breaking Don Shula's record, was seen as a short-term play. So there were some in the Falcons building who were concerned about overhauling things extensively, only to potentially have to do it so again in a few years. Blank may have gone into the process wanting Belichick, but he also went in with an open mind and was willing to listen to the input of others in the organization. All of that, combined with already high opinions of Morris, led to this surprise result.
Now-
and it could leave Belichick without a job in 2024.
What they didn't mention is that Rich McKay and Bill Belichick do not get along.
Well, there you
Okay.
go.
That's
So
been
that's
on
probably
from-
why they had that conversation
Right.
and on from there. So here's the sad thing about Belichick. If he doesn't get a job coaching, does anybody see him on in the studio doing
No,
a
can
show?
you imagine? Well, first out.
Exactly.
I do.
No,
I
even
do.
as an analyst, I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm not
As an
saying do it
well,
play by
you know,
play or color,
Right.
but as an analyst,
I
appreciate
still,
it.
absolutely,
You think so?
without a doubt.
Do you think
Somebody
it-
better, somebody
honest-
better train him up.
But honestly, so many guys. Look, there's been so many guys on TV that
Right.
we don't like.
Right.
It's stupid.
Right.
Right. But once again, you got to look at overall, do the fans like him, and do they like what he's saying, and do they like how he analyzes games? Yes, because what is it that he can't tell you about the game?
Well, he probably
no
knows everything,
question.
but it's just the way his
But it's his
demeanor, and
demeanor, right? His
being in front
demeanor
of
made
TV,
for
he's real
television.
dry, real dry.
Well, for me, I don't care nothing about his demeanor. If you're telling me what's getting ready to happen out on that field, I can see the game and I can understand the game.
Gotcha. As a teacher.
That's just me.
Gotcha.
What about, remember old John Madden? And then he went to the left, and then he hit him right, and
Well,
then he bamboozled him off.
He invented the telestrator.
yeah, he was-
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
the-
Now that's not going to be Belichick at all.
Oh, God,
No, he's
no.
going to
Yeah,
be just,
not
just
even.
real
But
dry.
he's a guy that can give you everything. He can
X's and
tell.
O's.
He can give you the X's and O's.
Yeah.
He can tell you what they're getting ready to do. He understands all of that stuff, guys.
All right, let's switch gears. We only have a couple of minutes left. Let's talk about this. By the way, my only message to Buffalo Bills fans is this.
Wide right.
Do not ever let a place kicker wear number 2 ever again, and let him kick, because number 2 and wide right seem to have a connection. One of them,
Norwood.
luckily for
Was
my
it Scott
Giants, by the
Norwood?
way.
Did
Yeah.
Scott Norwood wear
Absolutely.
number two?
Scott
Yeah,
Norwood wore number 2.
Yeah, man.
So there's a little irony in that.
They had an
See
interview
that,
with.
man?
They had
I'm
an
sitting
interview
there.
with.
I'm sitting there and I'm like,
I think
well,
the wind pushed it, but he didn't play it. He didn't play it
Again.
well.
Again, it's easy to blame the kicker. He should have
You know,
made it, and he should have made it.
No. Here's
But-
let me tell you honestly. This
Yeah.
is how it worked. If you watched him kick, he punched the ball. He didn't follow through
Yeah.
because he's cold.
Right.
And when you don't follow through, you're either
Ball
going to
sets.
push it or pull it.
Yeah.
And that's
Plus, the
exactly what he
balls
did.
Is heavier in the cold.
So what was Norwood's excuse in Florida during the Super Bowl?
Right.
It wasn't cold.
It was a fart. It was one of those brain farts. You ever heard of those?
Oh,
Did you, see
yeah.
the meme, did you see the meme on
Hello,
Facebook
Patrick.
with the goalposts all crooked?
I saw that. Maybe that's
It's
going to be the new
hilarious.
goalpost next
Right.
year. Absolutely. Thank you, Pat. By the way, one of the pictures we took last week was
With
with our
Patrick.
good friend Patrick. So
Yeah,
I checked all
posted
that
it.
out.
Pat,
Yeah,
what's
we
up,
all
man?
did. Thank you,
Yeah.
Patrick. All right, let's talk about the games this week. Game number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Baltimore Ravens in M&T Bank Stadium. Local time, high noon on Sunday.
Sounds like a
Gentlemen,
gunfight.
I know. Well, it kind of
High
should
noon.
be
Well,
between those guys.
everybody, Lamar Jackson is, but definitely MVP quality, MVP year. Just somehow I can't stand the Chiefs, but somehow they always find a
Baltimore
way.
is giving up 4 points at home.
I
by
think
way,
the
if that
Chiefs are going
matters.
to pull it out. As much as I hate to say it, I think they're going to pull that game.
I'm going with Chiefs. Chiefs, man, they know how to win.
Yep.
They know how to win at the end. And Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and that defense is really playing some good football. I'm going with the Chiefs against Baltimore. Great game, good game, close game.
Yep.
But I'm going with the Chiefs.
Lamar Jackson is on a mission. I'm taking Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
All right, the second game, Detroit Lions, the upstart team for this year versus the 49ers. 7 points. Detroit's getting a full touchdown if it matters, but Detroit going into San Francisco, Debo Samuel, very questionable,
Right.
may not play.
Well, they could still win without him, but I do believe that Detroit is destined. Goff was in the Super Bowl with the Rams and lost. I think he's going to get this opportunity. And for the city of Detroit, I compare this team to the 2009 New Orleans Saints when they won. They got their Super Bowl. It's the same vibe. The city never got one. It's just time. And I just think that the fans are going to get it. And I think Detroit Lions are going to win the game.
On the road there in San Francisco, that's a tough place to play. With that Shanahan system and that defense, man, is just very, very good. They're a good football team. I think Brock Purdy is playing at an MVP level as well. He's a great ball player, but Christian McCaffrey, man, he's the X factor.
He is.
And if you can't straddle him and grab him and hog time, he's going to beat you. I'm going with San Francisco. I am.
All righty then. All right.
All right, so
Mr. Voice.
I had this conversation with somebody at work today. I believe the Niners are going to win, but I will not be surprised if the Lions can pull it out. Team of destiny. Listen, the Lions
is.
have a solid running game too.
everything.
Goff has a solid receiving core with what's his name?
Amon Brown. St.
That's
Brown.
the guy. Yes, I love him. Ever since I saw his story on Fox with his brother
Yeah.
and his dad and the 200 catches he does every week. I love the story behind that. Dan Campbell, God bless him.
I think
took
he
this.
deserves.
Oh my goodness, he deserves the win if nothing else. So
And they're going to sign Barry Sanders to a one-day contract, and he's going to carry the football. He's going to suit up and carry the ball at least once.
wouldn't that be great? And they'll get George Plimpton to play quarterback
Right.
too.
Yeah.
The paper lion.
Merry Christmas.
So
supposed to
I am
laugh
going to
on
go out
that.
on a limb. I'm going to take Detroit just because. Okay. Everybody else is taking Niners. I'll take Detroit just because.
Good.
All right. With that, we're going to call it a wrap here, folks.
Wrap.
Great show. Thank everybody out there for watching. Remember, please visit our website, www.theroundtablelv.com. I got to send our webmaster more pictures to upload there. We're going to have previews of our shows, as well as we currently have up there some swag. So please
The
check it out.
Roundtable condoms. That's another good one.
Oh my God, we got you wrapped up. But anyway, we got you covered. Anyway, George, final thoughts so we can get the hell out of here.
Keep your head above water, guys. Super Bowl's coming up. Have fun. Live your life and just do what you can.
Always tell your children.
Why do you look at me? You know you follow him every week.
I know. I don't know, but you're
Habit.
you're always looking at me, so I look back at you.
Habit.
You look like a mirror. I mean, geez,
See how people can mix us up in public,
That's
Rick?
weird. That's weird.
Must be the glasses.
Great.
Hey, every day, every morning, man, give your children hugs and love, man. And they're all that we got.
There you go. All right. With that, programming note tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 10, Kiwanis Connects. We're going to have the Kiwanis Star Club back on. That's a club specific to human trafficking. And they're bringing on representatives from an organization called Thorn, which was started by what's his face? Adam Kutcher and Demi Moore. They came up with technology to help track
Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton. That's what I said. That's why I have you here. Kutcher and Moore coming up with technology to track trafficking and all that stuff. So join us tomorrow at 9. With that, everybody, thank you for watching. As always, be kind to everybody. Why? Like Rick said, we're all we have, whether we like it or not. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.